Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back into Bears Den, an NFL podcast with the Chicago Bears First Focus. I'm your host, Alex, and today is Wednesday, so we're going to be doing our weekly Power Rankings video. Got an interesting list this week, one with a couple surprise teams and some surprise spots. I think that it might catch some of you guys off guard, but look, I'm not one to do the Power Rankings based off of, you know, what the potential of a team is on paper or oh, this team's history, they've done this the past couple of years, so they're due for to be the top spot or whatever. That's not how it works here. We're going to do it based on what we've seen this season, because this season is all that matters right now. So with that, we'll get into it right away. Number 10 spot, I've got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, has their offense been super efficient under Justin Fields? No. But they're playing clean football. Justin is not turning the football over, and that defense is elite, and they're holding teams down. They're protecting the ball, they're scoring when they can, and they are getting it done. And look, when a team goes and they win the Super Bowl at the end of the year, it's never oh, they won games by this margin or they won this specific way. It doesn't matter how you win. It's, are you winning or are you not winning? And Pittsburgh is winning. They're 2-0. And look, Justin Fields has played good. He's made some good throws. He's made some clean throws. He's protecting the football, something that I wish that he did in Chicago his last year. But, Pittsburgh, they're looking like a pretty decent team, and they're leading the AFC North right now at the top, 2-0. So I've got them number 10 in the power rankings. Number 9, the Arizona Cardinals. I've got a 1-1 team here at the number 9 spot. And look, they could have potentially beaten Buffalo week 1. It was a really close game, one that, many could probably argue that they probably should have had. But, this past week, Kyler Murray had probably the best game that any quarterbacks had so far this season, lighting it up, finding his receivers, finding James Conner, getting Marvin Harrison the ball deep multiple times. Very, very clean football, and their offense looks electric. They look like they're going to be really, really tough to deal with this year. And 1-1 through 2 weeks, but Kyler is looking good, coming back from some injuries, and obviously the addition of Marvin Harrison so far through the first 2 weeks, he's looked like he's the best receiver in the draft with his performance this past week, and so Arizona at that number 9 spot. Number 8, pains me to do this as a Bears fan, but the Minnesota Vikings, look, I think they've got to be the biggest surprise this year so far. 2-0, just took down the defending NFC champs. I I I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I'm surprised, and I think that, much like Geno Smith in Seattle, we might be seeing kind of another perfect marriage situation with Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell. I mean, Sam Darnold's looking nice. This is one of the better situations he's been in his NFL career, and I think it's important to kind of look at this situation and realize that it's important to not write off these quarterbacks too early, especially these quarterbacks that get drafted really early, like Sam Darnold did, because sometimes these guys get thrown into bad situations, and the weapons around them are bad, and the offensive line is bad, and these guys can't really perform to the ways that they were doing in college. And now, he comes in, he's got a good offensive line, he's got a good running game with Aaron Jones, obviously has, arguably the best receiver in the league with Justin Jefferson, and now Minnesota's 2-0 at the top of the NFC North, something that, the majority of people outside of Minnesota thought would probably never happen, and they're looking pretty good. The way they kind of controlled the game and dominated San Francisco and made Purdy really uncomfortable is alarming for the rest of the NFC, I think. That Brian Flores defense is very aggressive, and if Darnold can just protect the ball and get it to his guys, and the defense can play their game, they're gonna actually be a dangerous team this year, and they're looking like the team that I've probably overlooked the most so far this offseason. Minnesota at number 8. Number 7, Tampa Bay. Look, Tampa Bay had a really solid, opening week against Washington, and then they go on the road to a team that beat them in the playoffs last year, and they beat Detroit on the road. Look, that's the sign of a good team and a ascending team. When you can go into the team's house that eliminated you from the playoffs last year and beat them, that tells the world that you're on the rise. And Baker Mayfield's had one of the best seasons so far through the first 2 weeks out of any quarterback in the league. he's looking like, again, it's another situation where, like I just mentioned with Sam Darnold, where, Cleveland writes him off. Carolina, who clearly can't get anything right, writes off Baker Mayfield, and, Sean McVay, the Rams give him a lifeline, and now here he is lighting it up in Tampa Bay. Looks like he's really found his home. Obviously, he's got his money and he's got weapons. He's got Chris Godwin. He's got Mike Evans. He's got a good defense. This is what happens when guys fall into the right spots. Good team around them, good coaching. This is what happens. Tampa Bay is looking pretty solid, and they're looking like they are one of the best teams in the NFC so far through these first 2 weeks. Tampa Bay at the number 7 spot. Number 6, this is a team where I wanted to get them in the top 10, and I probably, I was struggling a little bit to figure out where I wanted to put them. I could probably switch Tampa and this team, the Seattle Seahawks, but I'm going to leave Seattle at 6 for now. A big tough win against a Patriots team that obviously is better than people thought they were going to be. I thought that New England was going to be contending for the first round pick, but this team has fight. But Seattle, Geno Smith, since he's been in Seattle, good quarterback stats, good numbers, plays pretty safe with the football, can make big plays, and, they've got weapons. They've got DK Metcalf, they've got Tyler Lockett, they've got Jackson Smith and Jigba, they've got a good running game, they've got a good defense. Obviously, their home field advantage is something that will always benefit them, and this is a team that, they're leading the NFC West right now, and they look like they can, they've been faced with challenges so far this year. They were in a close game late against Denver week 1. They went to overtime this week with New England. And what I always say is good teams find a way to win. They find a way to win no matter who it is, no matter how it gets done. They figure it out. And I'm sure that, a lot of the coaching staff and the players didn't think that they'd be going into overtime with the New England Patriots. But they found themselves there. They looked adversity in the face and they said, we're going to find a way. We're going to get this victory. And they're 2-0 and they're leading the NFC West. That's something that is worth something for sure with how good San Francisco, Arizona, and even the Rams, prior to all the injuries have looked. So Seattle, number 6. Number 5, I keep them where I had them last week, the LA Chargers. It's hard to rate this team right now. They've had, a schedule that's easier than some of the other teams. Obviously, they played the Raiders in week 1, and the Raiders are looking like they're a pretty decent team. But, Chargers played the Panthers week 2, and the Panthers are looking like the worst team in the league, obviously. But with that being said, what you want to see when good teams play against bad teams is, can the good teams blow out the bad teams? And the Chargers won 26-3. So, that run first offense with Jim Harbaugh, good defense with Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, those guys. Quentin Johnston starting to come alive a little bit in that offense, and obviously they've got Justin Herbert. This is a good team. Kind of hard to truly figure out where they're going to be and who they're going to be, but right now I've got them at number 5 in the league, and I think that's pretty fair with what we've seen from them thus far. Number 4, Houston Texans. Look, I wasn't that necessarily impressed with how they played against the Chicago Bears Sunday night. I think that, they were held 19 points. They were held to 3 points in the second half. But like I said, good teams find a way to win, and they faced adversity. They fumbled late in the game, gave the Bears a chance. And, CJ Stroud was killing the Bears multiple times on third downs, scrambling, rolling out, making big plays. And, Stroud's obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He will not turn the ball over, and it just, when a quarterback can protect the football like that, it makes it so difficult for a team that's trailing to get back into the game, because the defense has to be perfect. They have to get off the field, and if you give up one big drive, that could be the entire game. And their defense, obviously, with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, is extremely scary. I think that 4 that they have now really kind of benefits their secondary, because last year that was a point of concern with the Texans. Their secondary was a little bit weaker compared to other teams in the AFC, but now with all their pressure up front that they can generate, I think that the secondary is really benefiting from that, and they got the job done, and they're 2-0. First time Houston started 2-0, I want to say 2015. So good things there brewing in Houston under DeMeco Ryans for sure. I've got them at number 4. Number 3, falling from the 1 spot, I've got Kansas City. Look, Patrick Mahomes had a rough game, a couple bad picks, had another pick that got called back to a penalty. Shocker. He leads the league in that since he's been drafted. But um, you know, they're 2-0. They've played two what people think to be good teams in Baltimore and Cincinnati, and Mahomes didn't play that great. And the news came out this week that Hollywood Brown's going to miss the entire season, but they got it done. They're 2-0, and if that pass interference doesn't happen, perhaps they're not, but that's what the Chiefs do. They find a way to get the win, and I think that the pass interference was legitimate. That was a good call. It should have been called. I think that Cincinnati probably threw that game away with the fumble, with the Jamar Chase penalty, with the pass interference, so on and so forth. But I have Kansas City falling just because, I think that they could have looked a little bit better on offense for some of that game. I think that, that's one of Mahomes' worst career games. And, I'm not really concerned about Kansas City. We all know they're going to be one of the best teams in the league, but I've got them falling a little bit this week, despite winning against Cincinnati, Kansas City at the 3 spot. Number 2, Buffalo Bills. Look, they dominated Miami. They controlled the game, the entire game. They came back and they won a tough week 1 game. The team's looking good. Josh Allen is looking good. James Cook is looking fantastic. And since they changed offensive coordinators in the middle of the season last year, they've become much more run first. Josh Allen's not having to be Superman all the time, meaning that they're not turning the ball over a ton. And their defense is obviously very, very good. This is a good team. This is, in my eyes, through 2 weeks, this is the best team in the AFC. I think what they've shown through these 2 weeks is that they can fight through the adversity. They can come back and win despite digging themselves into a hole early. And then, they can come out here against a tough divisional opponent in Miami and just control the game the entire time and not even give Miami a chance. And so Buffalo, number 2, the best team in the AFC through 2 weeks, in my opinion. And number 1, the best team in the league through 2 weeks. It's New Orleans. I mean, this is maybe the biggest surprise of the year. Look, some people may think I'm crazy. I look at some of these other power rankings from the big media, and if they have New Orleans outside the top 10 or they have them barely at 10. Look, I get it. It's tough to bring these teams that shock everyone up in the power rankings, but if we're basing it off of this year and what this team has done, they're the best team in the league. They've scored the most points. They've dominated both their opponents. Derek Carr is playing some of the best football of his career. Alvin Kamara had 4 touchdowns this past week. This stuff matters, and is this going to be sustainable? Who knows? It's hard to say, but I remember what I said last week after they destroyed Carolina week 1. What were we watching? Is this the real Saints team, or is Carolina just that bad? Well, they went on the road into Dallas and they did the exact same thing. They embarrassed Dallas. They had Jerry Jones pissed. They had Dak Prescott yelling at his receivers and his running backs. This team is applying pressure. They are scoring. They are electric on offense. They've scored, I think, touchdowns, I think they've just scored on all 15 drives this season, or at least the first 15 drives. This team is doing crazy stuff through the first 2 weeks, and they deserve to be number 1. Are they the best roster on paper? No. Did people think that they were going to be, contending for a playoff spot? No. But through 2 weeks, 40-plus points in both wins, and dominating Dallas, a 12-win team the past 3 seasons on the road in their house, dropping 40 on their head. You deserve the number 1 spot in my eyes, and New Orleans at the number 1 spot for the week 2 power rankings. So guys, let me know what you think down below. Did I get it right? Did I get it wrong? Do I have New Orleans too high? Is there a team that I don't have in the top 10 that I probably should have in the top 10? Let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. It really helps me out. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. If we could get to 100 subscribers before the end of September, that would be absolutely massive, and I would love that. I appreciate you guys listening in as always, and bear down as always, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.